Jason, there's been a huge pickup in adoption of this new technology called Qi2. We've seen over 90 different companies certify and register products on the Wireless Power Consortium website. So there's this big wave of adoption. We've talked about it before, but for companies that are building products, or if you're a product manager that's thinking about putting wireless charging into a product, can you give us an overview of what Qi2 technology is and how it's different from predecessor wireless power technologies?
Yeah, Qi2 inherently, compared to Qi1, is a little bit more advanced. A lot of learnings have come from the past couple of years of the Wireless Power Consortium and all the different products they've done, right?
Okay.
I mean, WPC started in 2010, so we've got about 14 years of learnings coming
amazing,
out, right?
yeah.
So Qi2, really the focus there was to improve performance, improve security, improve user experience,
Okay.
and inherently, make the adoption and interoperability of these devices really come to the forefront.
Yeah, okay, so those are really important advancements. I think it's good time that they're coming to market. One other thing that sticks out to me is this idea of these magnet arrays. Can you describe what that is and how that's a differentiator for products?
Yeah, so one of the biggest complaints with Qi1 was alignment of devices, right?
Right, you had to line it up perfectly. Maybe it slips in the middle of the night. Your dog bumps into the nightstand. You wake up, your phone's not charging.
Exactly, and what Qi2 brings specifically with their magnetic power profile is the ability for devices to integrate these magnet arrays to ensure that you get really good positioning. I really think about the product experience of the AirPods, where you have the case and they just snap in with magnets. It's very similar with the mobile phones, where this nice tactile feel's coming out that lets you basically know that you're always going to charge appropriately. Some other benefits that it's bringing too is that, when we think about maybe automotive applications where you have a dashboard or something where you want to mount your phone, it becomes a really nice thing to be able to just attach your phone with magnets that have pretty decent strength to make sure that you have a really good product experience.
Yeah, great. So overall, this technology is awesome, and we're a big fan of it at New Current just in general. But there's one version of it that I think has really caught our eye. It's from a company called Amphenol, who we're partners with, and they're launching a product called Qi2 Max, which is really like the premium version of Qi2 that's really good for integrating with other complex electronics. Can you just talk about how Qi2 Max is different from the typical Qi2 product?
Yeah, I would say there's probably three main differentiators when I think about Qi2 Max.
Okay.
First and foremost, from a performance standpoint, it's from testing data that I've seen, Qi2 Max right now is the most efficient product out there. So when I'm thinking of sustainable,
lower heat,
correct,
easier to integrate with the device because you don't have to worry much about thermal mitigation. I think you're going to say environmentally
correct.
superior. Okay, great. What's the second one?
The second one is what we look at is idle power consumption. Essentially, how much does this device pull energy over a 24-hour cycle?
Like when it's not in use. So the way these devices work is they sit there and they're beaconing. They're always a charger is always looking for a device to charge. It's asking, "Are you there? Are you there?" And you're saying that the Qi2 Max solution does that in a more efficient way and uses less idle power.
That's correct. And when you think about again, sustainability is a really big threat with wireless power and in general right now in the electronics industry. Being able to minimize your energy consumption not only is good from a sustainability standpoint, but for a lot of these applications where you start thinking about something that's powered by a battery, like an EV or a portable power bank or something like that, we really want to make sure we have low idle power consumption to make sure we can get as much use out of a device as possible.
Right. Whereas a device that's plugged into a wall, it's still good to have good efficiency. It's a bigger deal when you're doing wireless power from a device that's being run off of a battery, because then you're depleting that battery more quickly in order to charge another battery. That's what you're saying?
That's correct. And like in the EV market specifically, the car's one giant big battery, so you're really trying to minimize that as much as possible.
Cool. All right, and what's the third point?
The third point is the ability to interface with the Qi2 Max product. One of the big things as we look at our customers that are looking for a little bit more data functionality or ability to interface with it or control the Qi2 Max module in a specific way. There are accesses to the interface. Basically, there's a host interface that you can get into Qi2 Max that lets you pull some interesting data, maybe provide a value add to your end customer by giving them charge health or status health, or even being able to control it if you're integrating it into a more complex product, right?
Yeah. So I think that's a huge topic. It's actually really important for any companies that make more sophisticated electronics. It's probably not as important if you're just making a standalone transmitter, like a single one-off that's going to sit on a desk somewhere. But if you're making something that's integrated into a smart radio or a smart speaker, I guess, or into an automotive console or something like that, I think that data becomes so important. I actually think we should do another segment, and we'll link to it here, but let's do another segment where we get more into the technology side.
Yeah, there's one thing I also want to point out is a lot of people use their laptops for charging. Being able to plug your charger into a USB-C port. Now, as we start looking at, being able to charge your phone, your earbuds case, your watch, whatever it is, being able to intelligently know what you're plugged into is a really big factor, specifically, like you mentioned, to make sure that your devices are always charging and you know what's going on.
All right, well, we'll pick that up in our more technical version, but thanks for giving me the overview for just the market and what's going on for product owners.
Cool.